Controlled Chaos here. A week ago from the date of recording this video, I did a video doing a review of Ships of Heroes. And I had people come to me and say, hey, you need to look into the developers. It looks like they may be doing some bad behavior of banning people, deleting posts, and things like that. So I spent this last week researching into just that. And here's some of what I found. First off, we have this right here, which is on their Steam's discussions area for the game. And they state that they're being review bombed. I'm sorry, I don't think you're being review bombed. And the reason being is I played several hours of the game. And it is not a great quality game. It's not worth the price that they're charging. So people coming back and asking for a lot of refunds and reviewing the game poorly, stating a lot of them that, hey, there's this bug, that bug, it's not fun for me, it's overpriced, is a lot of the comments of what people are saying are justifiable reasons, and you don't need to play the whole entire 2-hour time that Steam gives you to realize that, because some of the things I found when doing it is they're stating that, oh, well, people are only playing a couple minutes of the game. Here's the thing. I played 2 hours for it to give it a just full amount of time, and within a 10-minute window of time, I could tell that this is sort of bland. This is type of game, and that it wasn't built well. It doesn't have the quality that I would expect from a $60 game that asks for $15 a month in a subscription. You expect that from a very nice polished release of a game, and their comeback to that kind of thing has been of the fact that they're saying, oh, well, no MMO releases flawlessly. Okay, I'll give you that. No MMO releases flawlessly. But also, if you look at my review, I stated that there's a black screen that we get, and we're hearing sound effects, and you're seeing your cursor and stuff like that, when there should be a loading screen up the entire time instead of just a short window of time. That's an actual critique. When I bring out that there's a vertice pulled out causing a pull on the mesh in one of the shoulders, and that some of the masks and other costume parts go inside the model of the body of the character, that's bad. You don't charge full prices for that kind of thing. So I can't justify them saying that. That makes it invalid, and them just trying to cover their asses instead of admitting, you know what, you're right, our quality is not that really good, we screwed up. And they're also talking about things I saw of, oh, well, we can't change our prices right now, we have to wait a while. Well, you know what you can put in? You can immediately put in for your game to go on sale and give a discount. And that's really important on that kind of thing. So another thing I want to talk about here is they talk about, being banned and that kind of thing. And you can see someone mentions that right there. Well, I found their thing for getting banned, which is right here. And the reason it states that they got banned was on this comment right here. The $60 and $15 a month for a new indie game with no history, no studio, and no other games is a massive mistake. You're going to drive away most of the player base at that price and only have a few diehards fans stay. Okay, that's a justifiable comment. And to make this an actual good critique, he actually puts in a solution here. His idea of the solution was pricing the game at around $20 to $30, and a $9.99 sub would be much healthier for you in the long term. You have far more players, and overall be making more money on monthly revenues, which is critical for an MMO. Okay, that is good criticism. I would love, if I put out a game and I saw this kind of criticism, I'd see this as favorable. They're voicing their opinion and they're voicing what they would like to see change. In no way is this person using foul language, being mean to them, or anything like this. And what happened? They got banned. This is not right. But it goes further than that. It talks about other things here too. This person talks about getting banned from the Steam discussion group because they put up a certain video, a video critiquing the game and an hour of gameplay and stuff like that. And, that's justifiable. And so here it is right here. And as you can see, banned. This is not right. This is wrong. 100% wrong. The person is sharing the video to give critique and stuff like that. Was the developer going to? Is ban. No, you don't do that, especially as an indie developer. As an indie developer, you want to show good demeanor. And in a way, their forward-facing sign sort of does that, and they try to do that. But the hidden things that are showing up just don't show that. I mean, we have things like this here where they get reviews so bad, the developers come back and say, oh, it's Sea Heroes Homecoming private server player base coming after them. Okay, yeah, I really don't think so. Because I've made things that, hey, Homecoming won't communicate with me. And I do a lot of Sea Heroes videos. And I have people from Homecoming commenting on my Sea Heroes videos. And I don't get a lot of backlash. I'll get, hey, why are you choosing this? Or why did you do this? Or I don't agree with this. But majority of them have been fairly friendly to me from what I've experienced. So I don't think the whole entire batch is Homecoming review bombing you. I think you're coming up with excuses. You're seeing that Homecoming is big and popular and making Sea Heroes popular again, just like some of the other smaller Sea Heroes private servers. I think the reason they're picking on Homecoming is because it's the more popular of them and well known of them, of the private servers of City Heroes. So they're the main target to go after. And I think that's just sort of wrong to do. I don't like that effect and things like that. But then we take a look at some other things here. Like right here. I am on SteamDB and we're looking at the chart here. As you can see, their active player base is not that big. It is dwindling down. And when I was actually playing and reviewing this, there was like maybe 1-2 players I run across in a small open world zone. Very, very small. We're talking like maybe Atlas Park size, and that's the only zone you have for open world. You don't have multiple zones. Yeah, no, it's not looking good for them. But we have other things that are going on here. Like one person mentioned that they got banned. And the developer comes back and says that, oh, you shouldn't have been banned. But then the person comes back and says, hey, I got banned. I don't want to risk it again. I'm not going to come back to this game. And so it looks like the developers are being heavy-handed in banning people. And you're scaring off. I mean, this person was an actual, fan of the game. They're big into this. And they get banned, and that's, you're going to scare off your dedicated fan base if you ban them, and you're going to lose more people. But we have other things. Let's go and look into their forums. So here's their forums, and as you can see, we got some that are 2 weeks ago, 8 hours ago, patch notes and stuff like that, yesterday, but a lot of this is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 hours ago for general discussion, but we just look into some of these and you can see that there's very little interaction. And I looked through all these forums and stuff like that to find native posts. I really had a hard time with it. I mean, even look here, waiting for, moderator. They're not moderating that well. This should have either been deleted or opened to show what people are saying, or they're keeping what this comment is hidden, but they're keeping it for themselves so that they have that information, and they're just too lazy to put up, a database of things. Because, I mean, just look at this. And the odd thing is the way the forums work is instead of your original post being at the top, their original posts are at the bottom. A good forum design, this would be up here for when you click on it instead of your newest being up top. You want your original post up top and then go down chronologically. This is in reverse. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom. So I had to do a lot of work to sort of go through a lot of these. But when I was looking into this whole entire band thing and other things, is I noticed this statement right here. This is a copy and paste statement. I've seen this pasted in multiple areas. They're just copying and pasting instead of responding directly to the person's concern. And that's another concerning thing there is with the whole entire copy and paste thing. You, as a small indie developer, you definitely 100% don't want to do that because people don't even like that from the big companies. And you may say, oh, well, it saves time. Well, yeah, it saves time, but then you don't create that connection with your community. By actually responding with a personally typed out response, that shows you are communicating with your community. Look at my social media, especially YouTube comments. You'll notice that when I reply, it's to that individual's question. It's remarking to them. It's not the same thing pasted over and over again and stuff like that. I don't do that. And you can tell that because I do make spelling mistakes. I do make grammar mistakes. I'm known for that. I've made verbal mistakes in videos. In fact, one of my biggest videos that pops off, I made a verbal mistake in the video and people commented about that. And I laughed with them and turned it into a joke. And that's how you go about building a community. I was willing to admit I made a mistake and showing that I made a mistake. You have to, as an independent developer, you have to show that to the player base. You have to be willing to say, yes, our models aren't perfect. Yes, our textures aren't perfect. Yes, our loading screen is not perfect. Yes, we are using AI voices for the voice acting. And they did say, yes, they're using AI voices on their website, but we're going to talk about that a bit later. But you have to be willing to admit your flaws. Because if you don't admit where your flaws are and where you need to improve, that's showing to the player base you're not willing to improve. You're not willing to enhance the game, which is going to scare off future buyers and make it so that people who made those comments aren't going to be interested in watching and seeing if your game does improve. Let's take an example of a good way to do it. No Man's Sky. Game came out terribly. It got reviewed terribly. They didn't come out and say, oh, we're being reviewed bomb. They didn't take down the comments and critiques of their game. No, what they did instead is they didn't even come out and say, we did bad. They actually kept quiet for 6 months. And they put out a patch to fix things. And then they put out more patches and more patches and more patches and updates and add more things and stuff like that. And slightly communicate with the community. And where is No Man's Sky now? It's one of the most beloved sandbox survival space games out there. People love it. People endorse the game. I endorse the game because they've given 8 years of content for free. No charging. Yeah, the game came out for $60, but the game has been going on sale for the last 9 years at 50% off. And they do that every time they do a content update. That same time, the game goes 50% off. So it goes from that $60 price down to $30. And they see their sales skyrocket. No Man's Sky does not make the money when they don't do an update. They make their money when they do an update and they put a sale on it. That's when they see it. And you know how much No Man's Sky is making a year? $30 to $40 million a year is what they're making. And that's mainly from selling the game at 30 or 50% off. So it's $30. And that's where you get a good reputation, by sticking it through, doing the work, and not making yourself look bad by banning people and things like that. But let's continue with that whole entire banning thing. Person here just mentions cash grab. It's that simple. They're just stating how they feel. Cash grab. What happens? Boom. Banned. No. He's just making a statement. It's not being rude. He's just saying, I feel like this is a cash grab. Don't ban them. Instead, work on the game, maybe lower the price, prove them wrong. That's what you do. Because you know what you could have done with this person? You could have turned them from a person saying cash grab to coming back and going, ignore this. I was wrong. This is not a cash grab. They're actually trying to do something. You could have converted this person, and they didn't. And that's what's wrong there. That was an easy conversion. Instead, you just ban. That's unfortunate. I had another one up there. So let's talk about the whole entire AI thing. They state on their website that they use AI generated voices for the voice acting. Okay, that's fine. That is allowed on Steam. Steam actually has policies, but you have to disclose that you're using AI and how you're using it. Is it pre-generated? Is it generated live? In other words, is the game creating the AI generation at the moment, or is it pre-embedded in? In Ships of Heroes, it's pre-embedded in because it's the same dialogue being used every time someone does that quest. It's not being randomly generated at the moment someone's clicking on the quest. So they gotta follow the pre-generated, which just basically you need to disclose what's pre-generated on your game. What is it of your game that has AI? And disclose that to the players. So I'll give you a good example. We have this right here. Dreamio, AI powered adventures. Right there in the name, they're stating AI powered. They're stating this has AI in it just by the title there. That's the first step. You don't even need to do that. But what you do need to do is something like this down here. AI generated content disclosure. And then they state right here what they do AI wise. Let's look at Ship of Heroes now. Ship of Heroes. Go through this. There's no mention of AI use at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Steam catches this and goes, oh, you broke our rules. Your game is gone. This could get them removed from Steam itself because they did not follow the procedures requested by Steam, which I just showed you right here. And this is on Steam's own page. So this isn't that I'm taking this as a screenshot. I'm showing you this live as I'm recording this about AI content on Steam. So this is not hearsay, this is facts. And that's what's important here. I'm showing facts. I did the research. I spent a week digging into this and poking around. I wasn't just going to say, oh, some community members say this, so therefore this is happening. No. That's not the way I work. If someone says something to me that a developer's doing or something that's happening in the game industry, I'm actually going to go in, I'm going to research it. I'm going to grab the information I can and present it to you the best way I can. So you need to comment down below what you think about Ships of Heroes developers. Do you think that they are acting badly, or do you think they just don't know how to handle the situation that they're in? Let me know down below. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day.